You say something. Wave at me. Yes? Come on up. House Bill 960, Delegate Valderrama. Absolutely.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, esteemed members of the House Ways and Means Committee. For the record, Kris Valderrama here to present House Bill 960, Asian American History Curriculum Requirement. This legislation is not the first time this has come before this esteemed committee, and it's, I would dare say, not complicated. It requires the State Board of Education to develop curriculum content standards to include Asian American history in our public school U.S. history curriculum, which is usually taught in 5th, 8th, and sometimes during high school grades. The bill uses the word, quote, unit, which may not be an accurate term of art. The intent of the bill is merely to include the Asian American story in our U.S. history content because Asian American history is U.S. history. So last year, I had a young 7th grader testify in favor of this legislation. She could not be here today, so I have Ms. Lily Ping, who will be following my testimony. But this young lady shared some insight into why she thought that this legislation is necessary, and I'd like to quote her here. So, quote, "My social studies curriculum this year is all about U.S. history. In the short expanse of time between August and February, I've sailed the New World, dumped tea in Boston Harbor, debated the pros and cons of the Articles of Confederation, and traveled down the Oregon Trail in pursuit of a journey west. But I've never learned about the Asian Americans who labored on sugarcane plantations, or the early Filipino immigrants who established a settlement in 1763 on the outskirts of New Orleans, Louisiana. Asian Americans came to the U.S. as early as the late 1700s, yet in all of my formative years, I cannot recall one time that I learned about the history of Asian Americans in school," end quote. So I have no objection to the course outline that this Howard County student, Howard County, Madam Chair, described. So Howard County is well known for its quality educational system. Maryland students should learn about the U.S. Revolution, our form of government, and the westward expansion of our nation. But I was struck by her words when we spoke that she cannot recall one time that she had learned about the history of Asian Americans in school. So unfortunately, I feel that this student is learning a very important lesson about Asian American history and about Asian Americans by extension. She is being taught that she and her history are invisible. Her non-Asian classmates are similarly learning a different lesson. They are being taught that Asian Americans are others who are not truly American and not part of our common history. By ignoring the unique vignettes of Asian American history in our curriculum, we are perpetuating the myth that Asian Americans come from some other place else, someplace else, even though we too can be born in the United States, such as myself. So I'm not seeking to make non-Asian students feel bad about injustices that have been perpetrated on others by others, but in fact, it's just the opposite. Through this bill, I'm just attempting to not just reinforce to Asian American students that their story is an essential part of American history, but I'm also seeking to expand the experience of non-Asian students who might know very little about the Asian American experience and who might not think that Asians can actually be American. So moreover, there are plenty of Asian American events that are joyous and inspiring and that do not focus on oppression. It's, though ironic, I will say, that when events in Asian American history are taught, the two most common topics that are covered are one, the Chinese Exclusion Act, and second, the Japanese internment in World War II, which are both very sad examples of our country not exemplifying its greater ideals. So it's no surprise to any of you in this committee that over the past few years, since COVID-19 has emerged, there has been a very serious uptick in anti-Asian American hate and harassment. So our awareness of these incidents has faded as our awareness of COVID has also somewhat faded. But still they occur. And so last December, unfortunately and sadly, another elderly woman was pushed off a subway platform in New York City. A few weeks ago, a young woman at a bus stop was repeatedly stabbed in the head while her assailant yelled, quote, there will be one less terrorist in the world. Many of us have grown numb to reports of such tragedies, and even the news media reports, fewer are being reported of these tragic stories. Anti-Asian hate has even sullied debate in Congress, where recently Representative Judy Chu from California was accused of being un-American because she supported another well-respected Asian American for a government appointment. And even after bipartisan backlash, the accuser doubled down by saying it wasn't xenophobic to question the Congresswoman's loyalty to her country. So given all of this, it should not shock each of us here that recent Brookings Institution research found that Americans are more likely than not to believe that referring to the coronavirus as, quote, Chinese virus or, quote, Wuhan virus is appropriate. 1 in 3 of those surveyed believe that Asian Americans are more loyal to their country of origin than to the United States, up from 1 in 5 when the question was asked in 2021. So again, what is forgotten by the question is that Asian Americans might actually be in their country of origin, as I said, such as myself, because I am American. So I just want to make it clear to the committee that the hate and harassment of Asian Americans is not new. It predates the coronavirus by many, many years. And so moreover, Asian Americans have been absent from our American history curriculum since forever, basically. So we have simply been invisible, whether people here who are of non-Asian descent believe that or not. But I believe in the power of education. So I also believe that by improving what we teach our students, our future, we can build empathy and critical thinking, which could prevent anti-Asian American attacks in the future. So students like Lily, students could learn to listen and speak and thoughtfully in a world that is increasingly complex and interconnected, because Asian Americans would no longer be viewed as other and would instead be viewed as part of the great melting pot that we always so view and proudly celebrate in our nation. At least I do, and most cities in our nation do. This would be a very positive thing. And so because Asian American history is American history, for all the reasons that I mentioned and I'm so passionate about, I would urge this committee to move a favorable report of House Bill 960. So thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Valderrama. Lily Peng, who's from